The crystal wine glass felt cool against Monica Chun Castellano's lips as her mother-in-law's voice sliced through the dinner table chatter. "We only invited you out of pity, dear. Don't stay long." Across 18 feet of Italian marble, her husband Anthony looked away, silent as a grave, while his brother laughed and called her a failure, and Monica realized that the family who'd never seen her worth was about to learn exactly what they'd lost. Constance Castellano's diamond necklace caught the chandelier light, each stone probably worth more than the annual budget of the women's shelter Monica ran in Brooklyn. The same shelter Constance had just called that little charity hobby. "Honestly, Tony, she's such a failure," Vincent said, swirling his scotch. "That nonprofit is bleeding money. Why do you even let her embarrass the family name?" Monica's fingers tightened on the stem of her glass. Anthony, her husband of 5 years, shifted in his seat. His eyes met hers for half a second before sliding away, coward quick. He said nothing, just reached for the breadbasket like his family hadn't just gutted his wife at their New Year's Eve dinner table. That silence cut deeper than any insult, because Monica knew something they didn't. She knew about Gabrielle, Anthony's assistant with the honey-colored hair and the hotel receipts. She knew about the text messages. "Just a few more months, baby. After the holidays, I'll tell her." She knew everything, and they knew nothing. What would you do if your own family humiliated you in front of everyone? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Monica set down her wine glass with deliberate gentleness. The Castellanos' Hampton Estate dining room went quiet, 7 pairs of eyes watching her. "Thank you for dinner," she said, her voice steady as a surgeon's hand. It was illuminating. She stood, smoothed her simple black dress, the one they'd mocked as off the rack when she'd arrived, and picked up her clutch. Anthony finally looked at her. Really looked. Guilt flickered across his face like a candle in wind, weak and temporary. "Monica, wait," he started. "Enjoy your champagne," she said. "Happy New Year." She walked out into the January cold without her coat, leaving behind the warmth, the wealth, the cruelty. Behind her, Vincent's laughter resumed. Good riddance. Monica didn't look back, but as her heels clicked across the marble foyer, past the Castellano family portraits going back 4 generations, past the wealth they wore like armor and wielded like weapons, she smiled. They had no idea what was coming. "Welcome back, my wonderful family and friends. I am Mr. Zaha. Thanks for tuning in today." A kind words from a man who has seen it all. Marriage are not mostly bed of roses. Sometime you need more of. More of what? Can't say. Continue watching, and you will surely know what to do in situations like this. Kindly hit that subscribe button and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. Tomorrow, I'll be bringing you another exciting story you definitely don't want to miss. So let's get started. 7 days earlier, Monica had found the text messages on a Tuesday. She'd been looking for Anthony's flight confirmation. He was supposed to be in Chicago for a merger negotiation when his iPad synced in their Park Avenue penthouse bedroom. The notification lit up the screen. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Room 2847. G. Chicago. Room 2847. Gabrielle." Monica had stood there, cashmere robe wrapped around her shoulders, staring at 18 months of lies condensed into glowing pixels. She scrolled back, found dozens more. Hundreds. "You make me feel alive in ways she never could. My family was right. I should have married someone from our world. Just a few more months, baby. After New Year's, I'll tell her." New Year's. The family dinner. Monica had sat down on their California king bed, the one she'd picked out, paid for with her own money that Anthony knew nothing about, and made a decision. She didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't confront him when he came home smelling like Gabrielle's perfume and corporate lies. Instead, she opened her laptop and started making calls. Because here's what the Castellanos never knew about Monica Chun. Before she became Mrs. Anthony Castellano, before the Park Avenue penthouse and the Hampton dinner humiliations, she was Monica Chun, founder and silent CEO of Chun Capital Partners. At 23, she'd built and sold a tech startup for $42 million. At 26, she'd flipped that into a venture capital empire worth over $300 million. She'd met Anthony at a charity gala 6 years ago. He'd been different then, or she'd wanted to believe he was. Earnest. Talking about wanting to build something meaningful, not just inherit his family's commercial real estate fortune. She'd fallen for the man who brought her coffee during her late-night non-profit planning sessions, who'd seemed proud of her work instead of threatened by it. She'd been wrong. The Anthony who'd proposed under the stars in Santorini had slowly disappeared, replaced by a man who parroted his mother's criticisms and spent his nights with his assistant. But Monica had been careful. Every asset she'd acquired during their marriage was strategically placed. The Aspen cabin, transferred to her name for tax purposes by Anthony's father. The joint accounts, she was primary holder. The Park Avenue penthouse, purchased with her capital, his name added for family unity. She'd trusted Anthony once, but she'd also built her fortune on never betting everything on trust alone. 5 days earlier. Monica, we need to talk about your nonprofit. Anthony had cornered her in their kitchen, loosening his Hermes tie. Behind him, the floor-to-ceiling windows framed the Manhattan skyline like a postcard from someone else's life. What about it? Monica had been chopping vegetables for a dinner Anthony would probably skip for another late meeting. Vincent says it's hemorrhaging money. My mother thinks. Your mother thinks I'm an embarrassment. Monica set down the knife carefully. She's made that abundantly clear. She's concerned. We all are. Maybe it's time to shut it down, focus on. On what, Anthony? Being a proper Castellano wife? Attending luncheons and keeping my mouth shut while your family treats me like hired help. His jaw tightened. That's not fair. What's not fair, Monica said quietly, is you standing in our kitchen, in the home I bought, criticizing work you've never bothered to understand. For a moment, something flickered in Anthony's eyes. Shame, maybe. Or recognition. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it. Gabrielle, Monica knew without looking, and the moment passed. I have to take this, he said, and walked away. Monica had returned to chopping vegetables, each cut precise and controlled. 3 days until the New Year's dinner. 3 days until everything changed. 3 days earlier, the women's shelter Monica ran occupied a converted warehouse in Brooklyn. Nothing like the gleaming Castellano corporate towers. No marble. No chandeliers. Just cinder block walls painted cheerful yellow, secondhand furniture, and hope. Rosa Martinez had been their newest resident, 34, 2 kids, escaping a husband whose fists spoke louder than his words. Ms. Chun, Rosa said, catching Monica in the hallway. I got the job. At the bakery. They said I can start Monday. Monica had hugged her, felt Rosa's thin shoulders shake with relief tears. I knew you could do it. You believed in me when nobody else did, Rosa whispered. Not even me. This was why Monica did the work. Not for recognition. Not for the Castellanos' approval. Because women like Rosa deserved someone in their corner. Hey boss. Keisha, the shelter coordinator, poked her head around the corner. There's someone here to see you. Says it's urgent. The man in Monica's office wore an expensive suit and carried a folder stamped with the Castellano Industries logo. Mrs. Castellano, he said, not quite meeting her eyes. I'm Robert Chun, no relation. I work in your husband's legal department. What can I do for you, Mr. Chun? He slid the folder across her desk. Inside were documents. Incorporation papers. Financial disclosures. For divorce proceedings. I was told to deliver these to you quietly, he said. Your husband plans to file after the new year. I thought you should know. He's trying to claim the non-profit's debts as marital obligations to reduce his settlement obligations. Monica stared at the papers. Anthony was going to divorce her and try to saddle her with fictional debts to protect his assets. Why are you telling me this? She asked. Robert Chen's jaw tightened. Because my sister stayed in this shelter 3 years ago. You helped her when nobody else would. She's a paralegal now. Has her own apartment. You changed her life. He stood. I don't know what your situation is, Mrs. Castellano, but I know you deserve better than being blindsided. After he left, Monica sat in her office for a long time. Then she picked up her phone and called her lawyer. Patricia? It's Monica. I need you to execute Protocol 7. Are you sure? Her lawyer's voice was careful. Once we start, there's no going back. Monica thought about Anthony's silence at family dinners. About Gabrielle's text messages. About a man who'd promised to love and protect her, then let his family devour her piece by piece while he planned his exit strategy. I'm sure, she said. We move the day after New Year's. New Year's Eve, the dinner. The Castellano estate in the Hamptons was everything Monica's shelter wasn't. Cold, beautiful, expensive, empty of real warmth. Constance held court at the head of the table, her silver hair styled into submission, her smile sharp enough to draw blood. Monica, dear, you look Comfortable, she'd said when Monica arrived. Translation, cheap. Vincent and his wife Petra sat across from Anthony and Monica. Vincent had inherited his mother's cruelty and his father's drinking problem, a devastating combination. Anthony's father, Richard, sat quietly at the other end of the table. He'd always been kinder than his wife, but too weak to contradict her. The meal was 7 courses of thinly veiled insults served on china older than Monica's grandmother. "How's your little charity, Monica?" Petra asked, her voice honey-sweet and poison-laced. "It's doing well. We placed 8 women in jobs last month." "How quaint," Constance said. "Anthony, darling, did you tell Monica about the Florida development? The one that will actually make money?" Anthony shifted uncomfortably. "Mother." "No, let her speak," Monica said calmly. "I'm interested in hearing about profitable ventures." Constance's smile widened. "Well, dear, some of us are built for business. Others are built for smaller pursuits. There's no shame in knowing your limitations." Vincent laughed into his scotch. "Honestly, Tony, she's such a failure. That nonprofit is bleeding money. Why do you even let her embarrass the family name?" Monica watched her husband. Watched him open his mouth, close it. Watched him choose silence. Watched him choose them. Again. "We only invited you out of pity, dear," Constance said, her final blow delivered with surgical precision. "Don't feel obligated to stay long." And Monica realized this was the plan. The whole dinner was designed to humiliate her so thoroughly that when Anthony filed for divorce in a week, she'd be too broken to fight back. They'd underestimated her spectacularly. She set down her wine glass and stood. "Thank you for dinner," she said. It was illuminating. As she walked out, she heard Vincent's voice. "Good riddance." In the foyer, past the portraits of Castellano ancestors who'd built their fortune on cruelty packaged as class, Monica pulled out her phone. She texted Patricia, "Execute now." All of it. Then she texted her assistant at Chun Capital Partners. "Monday morning. Board meeting. Time to go public." She walked into the January cold without her coat, but she wasn't shaking from temperature. She was shaking with controlled fury. They wanted to humiliate her? Fine. Let them see what humiliation really looked like. January 1st. Anthony woke up with a champagne headache and an empty bed. Monica's side was cold, untouched. He vaguely remembered her leaving the dinner early, remembered his mother's satisfied smile, remembered feeling relieved that the confrontation he'd been dreading was postponed again. He reached for his phone. 6:47 a.m. New Year's Day. 17 missed calls from Vincent. 12 from his mother. 8 from the family attorney. His stomach dropped before his brain could catch up. The first email was from Aspen Property Management. "Dear Mr. Castellano, we regret to inform you that the family cabin at 2847 Mountain Ridge Drive has been sold. As per the ownership documents on file, Mrs. Monica Chun Castellano had full legal authority to complete this transaction. The sale closed December 31st at 11:59 p.m. All personal belongings must be removed by January 15th. What the hell? He scrolled frantically. Another email. Chase Private Banking. Your joint account ending in 4392 has been closed at the primary account holder's request. Remaining balance of $847.32 has been transferred to your personal checking. $847. The joint account that held $3 million. Anthony's hands started shaking. Citibank. Same message. Account closed. Morgan Stanley investment portfolio. Liquidated. Schwab. Liquidated. Email after email, each one a financial guillotine blade. He stumbled out of bed, pulled on yesterday's clothes, and ran to his home office. The Park Avenue penthouse was silent. Monica's coffee cup wasn't in the sink. Her laptop wasn't on the kitchen counter. Her keys weren't on the hook by the door. She was gone. His personal banking app loaded with agonizing slowness. Checking account balance. $847.32. Savings, $0. Investment accounts, closed. The Park Avenue penthouse deed. He pulled it up on his laptop with trembling fingers. Sole owner, Monica Chun Castellano. No. His phone rang. Vincent. What the fuck did your wife do? Vincent was screaming. The cabin? The fucking cabin, Tony? That was family property for 20 years. It was in Monica's name, Anthony said numbly. Dad transferred it to her for tax purposes when. I don't give a shit about tax purposes. Get it back. I can't just. Then get your wife under control. The line went dead. Anthony tried calling Monica. Straight to voicemail. He tried her email. Delivery failed. Address no longer valid. He tried the nonprofit's number. Brooklyn Women's Restoration Center. This is Keisha. Keisha, it's Anthony Castellano. Is Monica there? A long pause. Mr. Castellano, I'm not at liberty to discuss Ms. Chen's whereabouts. Ms. Chen, not Mrs. Castellano. Please, I need to talk to my wife. I'll let her know you called, Keisha said, her voice professional ice, and hung up. Anthony sat in his office, Monica's office, her penthouse, her money. Oh God, it had always been her money, and tried to breathe. His phone buzzed. An email from an address he didn't recognize. The subject line, you should have chosen better. Inside was a single attachment. A photograph of him and Gabrielle entering the Chicago hotel. Room 2847. The same room number as the cabin that had just been sold. The email had no message. It didn't need one. Monica knew everything. Day 2, January 2nd. The emergency family meeting was held at Castellano Industries corporate headquarters. 67 floors of steel and glass in Midtown Manhattan, built on 3 generations of commercial real estate dominance. Constance sat at the head of the conference table, her fury barely contained beneath expensive foundation. Vincent paced like a caged animal. Richard looked older than his 68 years. Their attorneys, 3 of them, sat with briefcases full of useless legal strategies. This is financial terrorism, Constance hissed. That woman has stolen family assets. Assets legally in her name. One of the attorneys interrupted gently. The cabin, the joint accounts, the Park Avenue property, all legally transferred or established with Mrs. Castellano as primary owner or sole owner. She's broken no laws. I don't care about laws. Constance's voice cracked like a whip. I care about family property being stripped by some gold digging. Mother. Anthony's voice was hollow. She's not a gold digger. Everyone turned to look at him. He looked like he hadn't slept. He hadn't. He'd spent all night trying to piece together the financial crater where his life used to be. What are you talking about? Vincent demanded. I did some research last night, Anthony said. Monica, before I met her, she sold a tech company called NextGen Solutions for $42 million. She was 23. Silence. She what? Constance's face had gone pale. She's been running a venture capital firm called Chun Capital Partners for 6 years. It's worth over $300 million. The number hung in the air like smoke. That's impossible, Vincent said. She runs a nonprofit. A failing nonprofit. The nonprofit is a cover, one of the attorneys said, typing rapidly on his laptop. Or not a cover, exactly. She does run it. But Chun Capital Partners. Oh my God, she's on the board of 17 major companies. She's a silent partner in. This can't be right. What? Constance snapped. The attorney turned his laptop around. On the screen was a corporate filing document. Chun Capital Partners owned 34% of Castellano Industries. Vincent knocked over his coffee. That's not possible. We would know. She used shell companies. Holding trusts. All perfectly legal. She's been buying shares for 4 years through intermediaries. The attorney scrolled frantically. And according to this emergency shareholder filing submitted at 9 a.m. this morning, she's calling for a vote to remove Constance Castellano as CEO. The room exploded. Constance was screaming. Vincent was demanding answers. Richard just stared at the table, something almost like admiration flickering in his eyes. Anthony sat frozen. For years, Monica had been protecting herself for 4 years. Since before they got married. She'd never trusted him. And now he knew why. His phone buzzed. Another email. Same unknown address. This one had an attachment labeled, "What you chose over me." He opened it with shaking hands. It was a dossier. On Gabrielle. Every hotel. Every lie. Every text message. 18 months of infidelity. Documented with forensic precision. Below it, a single line. I was never the failure in this marriage. Day 3, January 3rd. The story broke on the financial news before the Castellanos could contain it. Mystery billionaire Monica Chun revealed a silent power behind multiple empires. Castellano Industries faces hostile takeover from founder's own daughter-in-law. From nonprofit director to corporate titan, the secret double life of Monica Chun. Anthony watched the news coverage from his hotel room. He couldn't stay in the penthouse that wasn't his, surrounded by Monica's absence. They were showing footage of her now, arriving at Chun Capital Partners' offices in Lower Manhattan. She looked different, hair pulled back sharply, wearing a tailored suit he'd never seen, steel gray and expensive, moving through the lobby like she owned it. Because she did. The reporter's voice. Sources confirmed that Monica Castellano has been operating one of the most successful venture capital firms in the country, while simultaneously running a nonprofit and maintaining what appeared to be a low-profile marriage to Anthony Castellano, heir to the Castellano Industries fortune. Appeared to be. Anthony whispered to the empty room. His phone rang. Gabrielle. He stared at her name on the screen, remembered the text messages, remembered room 2847, remembered everything that had felt urgent and alive and real just a week ago. It felt like ash now. He declined the call. Then he opened his messages and typed, "It's over. Don't contact me again." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. You're really going back to her? After everything? Anthony stared at the message. Going back to her? Monica didn't want him back. Monica had systematically dismantled his entire life in 72 hours. Monica had been planning her exit strategy since before their wedding. He typed, "There's nothing to go back to. I destroyed it." He blocked her number. It didn't make him feel noble. It just made him feel empty. Day 4, January 4th. The shareholder vote was scheduled for Friday. Constance's lawyers were scrambling to fight it, but the legal ground was solid as bedrock. Monica had the shares. Monica had the legal right. Monica was going to win. Anthony's mother had stopped screaming at him and started the silent treatment, which was somehow worse. Vincent had called him a pussy-whipped failure and stopped taking his calls. Only his father had reached out. They met at a diner in Queens, Richard's Choice, not the kind of place Castellanos usually frequented. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here," Richard said, stirring sugar into coffee that didn't need it. "She'd kill me." "Seems to be going around," Anthony said. Richard studied his son. "You look terrible." "I feel worse." "Good." Anthony's head snapped up. His father's expression was harder than he'd ever seen it. "You cheated on your wife. You let your mother and brother treat her like garbage. You sat silent while they humiliated a woman who was quietly more successful than all of us combined. So yeah, you should feel terrible." "I know." "Do you?" Richard leaned forward. "Because I've been watching you these past few days, Anthony. I've seen you grieving. But I can't tell if you're grieving Monica or just grieving what you lost." The words hit like a physical blow. "I loved her," Anthony whispered. "Did you? Or did you love having her? Love the idea of her? Because love protects, son. Love defends. Love doesn't sit silent while the person you promised to cherish gets torn apart." Anthony's eyes burned. "I don't know how to fix this." "You probably can't," Richard said bluntly. "But you can start by figuring out who the hell you want to be. The man who lets his family's poison become his poison? Or someone better?" He stood, dropped cash on the table. "For what it's worth, I always liked Monica. She had more integrity in her little finger than the rest of us combined. I hope she takes everything." He left Anthony sitting there, drowning in truths he couldn't swallow. Day 5, January 5th. The package arrived at Anthony's hotel via courier. Inside was a flash drive and a handwritten note on Monica's personal stationery. "You wanted to know about my failing nonprofit. Watch this. M." Anthony plugged the drive into his laptop. It was a video compilation. Rosa from the shelter, giving a speech at her new job's orientation. Thanking Monica. Tears streaming down her face. Cut to Keisha, testimonial interview. "Miss Chin saved my life. I was living in my car with 2 kids. Now I'm the shelter coordinator. I'm finishing my social work degree. None of this happens without her." Cut to dozens of women, telling their stories, showing their new apartments, their job offers, their children in safe schools. Cut to financial documents. The failing nonprofit wasn't failing at all. It was fully funded by Chun Capital Partners endowment. Every dollar accounted for. Every program expanding. The Castellanos had called it a failure because it didn't make profit. But it was making something more important. It was making hope. The video ended with Monica herself, speaking directly to the camera. Not to Anthony, to donors, he realized. This was a fundraising video. "People ask me why I do this work," she said, "when I could be doing anything else. And the answer is simple. Everyone deserves someone in their corner. Everyone deserves to be seen, to be valued, to be told they matter. I do this work because I know what it's like to be invisible to people who should see you, to be dismissed by people who should cherish you, These women deserve better. We all do. Her eyes were fierce, determined, unbroken. God, she was magnificent. And he'd let his family call her a failure. Anthony closed his laptop and cried for the first time since he was a child. Day 7, January 7th. The board meeting at Castellano Industries was packed. Shareholders, press, corporate attorneys, security. Monica walked in wearing armor disguised as a black Armani suit, her hair pulled into a flawless bun, her heels clicking like gunshots on the marble floor. She didn't look at Anthony. He sat in the back row, no longer a board member, just another observer watching his family's empire crack. Constance sat at the head of the table, regal and furious. Monica took the podium. Good morning. My name is Monica Chun, CEO of Chun Capital Partners and majority shareholder of this company. I'm calling for an immediate vote to remove Constance Castellano as CEO, effective today. Constance shot to her feet. This is a hostile takeover by a vindictive. This is a shareholder exercising her legal rights. Monica interrupted, her voice calm as ice. Rights purchased with legitimately acquired capital over 4 years. I have the shares. I have the votes. And I have the documentation showing systematic mismanagement, nepotistic hiring practices, and financial irregularities that would make the SEC very interested in taking a closer look. She clicked a remote. The screen behind her filled with spreadsheets. Vincent had been embezzling. Small amounts, carefully hidden, but there. Constance had been awarding contracts to shell companies that kicked back money to family accounts. Nothing catastrophic, but enough to be criminal. The room erupted. Monica waited for silence, then continued. However, I'm not interested in destroying this company. I'm interested in accountability. Constance Castellano will step down today. Vincent Castellano will be removed from the board and will cooperate fully with an internal audit. And Castellano Industries will partner with Brooklyn Women's Restoration Center to create a workforce development program, fully funded, to employ and train women from underserved communities. She paused. You took from people who had nothing and called it business. Now you'll give back and call it redemption. The vote was unanimous. Constance was removed. Just like that. 30 years of reign ended in 15 minutes. As the board members filed out, Monica packed her briefcase. Anthony approached carefully, like she might detonate. Monica. She didn't turn. Mr. Castellano. The formality cut deeper than anger would have. I know I don't deserve to speak to you, he said. But I need you to know. I'm sorry. For everything. For being weak. For choosing their approval over your dignity. For his voice cracked. For Gabrielle. For every moment I wasn't the man you deserved. Monica turned finally. Her eyes were dry hard. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry you lost. But are you sorry you became someone who could do those things? Yes, he whispered. God, yes. I don't believe you, she said. But maybe someday I will. She walked past him, leaving behind only the faint scent of her perfume and the ruins of everything he'd taken for granted. Week 2, January 14th. Anthony moved into a studio apartment in Queens. Not because he wanted to, because it was all he could afford. The penthouse was Monica's. The Hampton estate was his family's, and he couldn't stomach being there. His bank accounts were anemic. His credit cards, maxed out from years of assuming money was infinite, were useless. The studio had thin walls, a radiator that clanked like a dying animal, and a view of a brick wall. It was humbling. It was exactly what he deserved. He'd called his father to borrow money for the security deposit. Richard had said no. You're 34 years old, Anthony. Figure it out. So he did. He pawned his Rolex, the one his grandfather gave him. Got $8,000. First month, last month, security deposit, and enough left over for groceries if he was careful. He stood in the empty studio on a freezing January afternoon and thought, this is rock bottom. He was wrong. Rock bottom came 3 days later. January 17th. The coffee shop in Brooklyn was the kind of place Anthony would never have entered 2 weeks ago. Chipped mugs. Second-hand furniture. A barista with purple hair and tattoo sleeves. He'd come because he'd seen the help wanted sign in the window. You got experience? The manager asked. Her name tag said Lucia. She looked skeptical. No, Anthony admitted. But I can learn. I need the work. You're wearing a $2,000 suit to apply for a minimum wage job. He looked down at his Tom Ford suit, one of the last remnants of his old life. It's all I have. Lucia studied him. You're that Castellano guy? The The one whose wife took everything. Shame burned through him. Yeah. Good for her, Lucia said. My sister stayed at her shelter. Monica Chin changed her life. Anthony nodded slowly. She's incredible. And you cheated on her. It wasn't a question. Yes. Lucia poured herself coffee, took a long sip. Why should I hire you? Because I'm trying to become someone different than who I was, Anthony said quietly. And I have to start somewhere. She looked at him for a long moment. You'll work morning shifts. 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. Minimum wage. You'll clean toilets, take out trash, and handle the worst customers with a smile. And if I hear you've been anything less than respectful to every single person who walks through that door, you're gone. Clear. Clear. You start Monday. Don't be late. January 20th, first day. Anthony's alarm went off at 4:15 a.m. The subway to Brooklyn was crowded with people heading to early shifts. Nurses, construction workers, people who'd been working these hours their whole lives while he'd been sleeping in Egyptian cotton sheets. He arrived at the coffee shop at 4:50 a.m. Lucia handed him an apron. You know how to make coffee? I know how to order it. Not the same thing. Pay attention. She taught him everything. How to pull espresso shots. How to steam milk. How to clean the machines. How to smile at customers even when they were rude. By noon, his feet ached. His back hurt. He burned his hand twice and spilled an entire container of milk. Not bad for day one, Lucia said. You didn't cry or quit. That's more than most. Anthony went home to his studio apartment, collapsed on his second-hand mattress, and slept for 12 hours. When he woke up, there was a text from Vincent. Heard you're working at a coffee shop. That's pathetic even for you. Anthony deleted it without responding. January 25th. Monica saw him through the coffee shop window purely by accident. She'd been walking to a meeting nearby. Chin Capital Partners was negotiating a major acquisition when she'd glanced through the glass. And there was Anthony, wearing an apron, taking someone's order, smiling politely while a customer yelled at him about an incorrect change. She stopped walking. Patricia, her lawyer and friend, stopped beside her. Is that? Yeah. They watched Anthony handle the angry customer with patience Monica had never seen him display. Watched him apologize genuinely, remake the order, refuse to take payment for the replacement. Huh, Patricia said. Yeah, Monica repeated. You want to go in? No. But she didn't move. Anthony looked different. Thinner. Tired. There were shadows under his eyes. His $2,000 suit had been replaced with jeans and a faded sweater. He looked smaller. More human. Monica, Patricia said gently, what are you feeling right now? I don't know, Monica admitted. She'd expected to feel satisfaction, vindication, the sweet taste of revenge. Instead, she felt something more complicated, something that felt dangerously close to concern. She forced herself to walk away. February 1st. Anthony had been working at the coffee shop for 2 weeks when Rosa walked in. He recognized her immediately from Monica's video. Rosa from the shelter. The one who'd gotten the bakery job. She didn't recognize him at first. Medium latte, please, she said, then looked up. Her eyes widened. Oh, you're Mr. Castellano. Just Anthony, he said quietly. Medium latte coming up. He made her drink carefully, perfectly. Handed it to her. Rosa hesitated. Ms. Chun, she's a good person. The best person I've ever met. I know. She gave me a chance when I had nothing. When everyone else saw a statistic or a charity case, she saw me. Anthony's throat tightened. She has that gift. Do you? Rosa asked. See people, I mean. Or do you just see what they can do for you? The question was sharp, fair, devastating. I'm learning to, Anthony said. I'm trying to. Rosa studied him. Good. Because she deserves someone who sees her. Really sees her. She left without another word. Anthony stood behind the counter, surrounded by the hiss of espresso machines and the chatter of morning customers, and felt something crack open in his chest. He'd spent 5 years married to Monica, and he'd never really seen her. Never asked about Chun Capital Partners. Hell, he hadn't even known it existed. Never asked about the women at the shelter beyond superficial questions. Never wondered what it cost her to smile through his family's cruelty. He'd seen a wife, a role, an accessory to his life. He'd never seen Monica. February 8th. The envelope arrived at the coffee shop addressed to Anthony. Inside was a court summons. Divorce proceedings. Monica was filing. Also inside, a personal note in Monica's handwriting. Anthony, I'm filing for divorce. You'll receive the official papers soon. I'm not asking for anything from you. There's nothing you have that I want or need. This is simply making official what's been true for a long time. We're done. I'm writing separately because I want you to understand something. This isn't revenge. Revenge would mean I still care enough to hurt you. This is simply closing a chapter that should have ended long ago. I hope you find whatever you're looking for. I genuinely do. But you won't find it with me. M. Anthony read the letter 3 times. Then he did something he hadn't done since this whole thing started. He went to the Brooklyn Women's Restoration Center. February 8th, evening. Keisha looked shocked when Anthony walked through the door. Mr. Castellano. I'm not here to see Monica, Anthony said quickly. I know she doesn't want to see me. I'm here to volunteer. If you'll have me. Keisha's eyebrows rose. Volunteer. I have mornings off from my coffee shop job. I can paint, clean, do administrative work, whatever you need. I don't want money. I don't want access to Monica. I just want to help. Why? Because Monica built something beautiful here, Anthony said. And I spent years not seeing it. I'd like to understand what she saw. What she still sees. Keisha crossed her arms. If this is some scheme to get back in her good graces. It's not. I know we're done. I know I destroyed that. But maybe I can do something good anyway. Even if she never knows about it. Keisha studied him for a long, uncomfortable moment. We need someone to teach basic computer skills on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. You know Excel? Word. Yes. And you'll be respectful? Patient. These women have been through hell. They don't need attitude or judgment. I understand. Okay, Keisha said slowly. 2-week trial. Mess up once you're gone. Thank you. As he left, he passed the wall of photos. Women who'd graduated the program. Found jobs. Rebuilt lives. Monica was in several of the pictures. Smiling. Hugging graduates. Crying happy tears. She glowed with purpose. He'd been married to this woman, and he'd never once asked her why this work mattered to her. Never asked about her first startup, her capital firm, her dreams beyond being his wife. I'm sorry, he whispered to her picture. The photo, of course, didn't answer. February 15th. Monica found out about Anthony's volunteering from Keisha. I don't know if I should have told you, Keisha said, bringing coffee into Monica's office at Chin Capital Partners. But I thought you'd want to know. He's volunteering. Monica set down her pen. Why? He says he wants to understand what you built. He's been teaching computer classes. The women actually like him. He's patient. Kind. One of them said he stayed an extra hour to help her build a resume. Monica was quiet. Do you want me to fire him? Keisha asked. No, Monica said slowly. If he's helping, let him help. Just don't tell him I know. Why not? Because I need to know if he's doing this for me or for himself. Monica said. If he knows I'm watching, it doesn't mean anything. February 20th. Anthony's second computer class had 8 women. One of them, Jasmine, was struggling with basic typing. She'd never used a computer before. Her ex-husband had controlled everything, including her access to technology. I'm so stupid, she said, frustrated tears welling up. I can't even do this simple thing. You're not stupid, Anthony said gently. You're learning something new. That takes courage. I'm 43 years old. I should know this already. I'm 34 and I just learned how to make a latte, Anthony said. Learning doesn't have an age limit. It just requires showing up. And you're here. That's the hard part. Jasmine looked at him. You really worked at a coffee shop? Still do. Morning shifts in Brooklyn. Why? Because I spent my whole life having things handed to me, Anthony said honestly. And I never appreciated any of it. Or anyone. So I'm learning what it means to work. To earn. To build something instead of just inheriting it. That's brave, Jasmine said quietly. No, Anthony said. Brave is leaving a bad situation with nothing and starting over. That's what you did. I just got humbled. But Jasmine smiled, and her fingers moved a little more confidently over the keyboard. After class, Anthony stayed to clean up. Rosa, who worked at the shelter now, part-time while finishing her degree, came in. You're still here. Just cleaning up. Rosa leaned against the doorframe. Keisha says you're good with the women. Patient. Real. I'm trying. Why? Rosa asked. You're divorced, right? Or about to be. You don't owe Miss Chin anything. So why are you here? Anthony put down the chairs carefully. Because for 5 years, I was married to someone extraordinary and I never saw her. I took her for granted. Let my family abuse her. Cheated on her. And I can't fix that. But maybe I can honor what she built by contributing to it. Even if she never forgives me. even if she never knows. She knows, Rosa said. Anthony looked up sharply. Keisha told her. Ms. Chin knows you're here. She does. Yeah. And you know what she said? She said to let you stay. As long as you're actually helping. Something in Anthony's chest loosened. Not hope exactly. Monica knowing he was here didn't mean she cared. Didn't mean forgiveness. But it meant she was watching. And maybe, just maybe, she was seeing something different than the man who'd let her down. February 28th, 2 months after the dinner. Monica sat in her office at Chin Capital Partners, staring at the divorce papers her lawyer had prepared. All she had to do was sign them. The marriage was over. Anthony had destroyed it. He'd cheated, lied, let his family humiliate her. She had every right to walk away and never look back. So why couldn't she sign? Patricia knocked on her open door. You're overthinking. I'm not thinking at all, Monica said. That's the problem. What does your gut say? Monica closed her eyes. My gut says he's different. That the man teaching computer classes at my shelter isn't the same man who sat silent at that dinner. But my head says people don't really change. That he's performing. That the second I let my guard down, he'll revert. Both could be true, Patricia said. He could be genuinely changing, and it could still not be enough. You don't owe him forgiveness, Monica, even if he becomes a saint. I know. But I've spent 2 months destroying his life, and I thought it would feel better than this, Monica admitted. I thought revenge would be satisfying. Instead, I just feel tired. That's because revenge isn't the same as healing, Patricia said gently. And maybe you need to figure out what healing looks like for you, with him or without him. After Patricia left, Monica pulled out her phone. She opened the file her private investigator had been sending weekly. Photos of Anthony. At the coffee shop. At the shelter. Taking the subway. Shopping at discount grocery stores. Living a completely different life than the one he'd had 3 months ago. In one photo, he was helping Jasmine with her computer. His expression was patient, kind, fully present. In another, he was laughing with Lucia at the coffee shop, washing dishes in the back. He looked lighter, happier even, despite having lost everything. Or maybe because of it. Monica's phone buzzed. Text from Keisha. Your ex-husband just donated his entire paycheck from the coffee shop to the shelter. Said he doesn't need it. Wanted you to know in case you want to refuse it. Monica stared at the text. Anthony's coffee shop paycheck was probably $600 every 2 weeks. Nothing to her. Everything to him right now. She typed back, accept it. Put it toward the computer lab fund. Then she stared at the divorce papers again. And still didn't sign. March 3rd. Anthony's phone rang while he was restocking cups at the coffee shop. Unknown number. Hello. Mr. Castellano, this is Dr. Richard Chun. I'm Monica's father. Anthony nearly dropped the phone. He'd met Monica's parents exactly twice, at the engagement party and the wedding. They lived in San Francisco, were warm and kind, and had clearly disapproved of how the Castellanos treated their daughter. Dr. Chun. Hello. I'm calling because my daughter won't. She's stubborn like her mother. A pause. I've been following the news. And I've been getting updates from Keisha at the shelter. Sir, let me finish. What you did to Monica was unforgivable. You cheated on her. You let your family treat her like garbage. You disrespected everything she built. If she never speaks to you again, you deserve it. I know. However, Dr. Chin continued, I'm also watching you try to become a better man. That doesn't erase what you did. But it matters. My question is, why are you doing it? Because I lost the best thing that ever happened to me, Anthony said, his voice raw. And I can't fix that. But I can fix myself. Even if she never sees it. Do you love her? More than I understood when I had her. That's not enough. I know that too. Dr. Chun was quiet for a moment. My daughter is brilliant, successful, and completely capable of building a beautiful life without you. You understand that? Yes, sir. Good. Because if you're trying to change just to win her back, you'll fail. People don't change for others. They change for themselves. And if you become a better man and Monica still chooses to walk away, you have to respect that. I will. My wife and I are flying to New York next week. I'd like to meet you for coffee. See for myself who you're becoming. Anthony's heart hammered. I'd be honored. Don't be. I might decide you're still not good enough for my daughter. That's fair. After the call ended, Anthony stood in the back room of the coffee shop, surrounded by boxes of napkins and industrial coffee filters, and let himself feel something he'd been afraid to feel. Hope. Not that Monica would forgive him. But that maybe, possibly, he was becoming someone worthy of being forgiven, even if forgiveness never came. Have you ever had to forgive someone who deeply hurt you? Or watch someone genuinely change? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes the hardest battles happen inside our hearts. March 10th, 3 months after the dinner. The meeting happened by accident. Monica had come to the shelter late, 9 p.m. on a Thursday, to drop off donation checks and review next quarter's budget with Keisha. She'd deliberately chosen a time when Anthony wouldn't be there. Except he was. She found him in the computer lab, alone, fixing one of the older machines. His sleeves were rolled up, hair falling into his eyes, completely focused. He didn't hear her enter. Monica stood in the doorway, watching him work with a precision she'd never seen before. The old Anthony would have called IT, would have thrown money at the problem. This Anthony had a screwdriver and YouTube tutorials pulled up on his phone. "You're here late," she said. Anthony's head snapped up. The screwdriver clattered to the floor. "Monica." He stood quickly, wiping his hands on his jeans. "I didn't know you were coming. I can go. It's fine." She stepped into the room, maintaining careful distance. "What are you doing?" "Computer 3 keeps crashing. Jasmine has her job interview tomorrow and needs to practice. I thought I could fix it instead of waiting for a technician." He looked embarrassed. "I've been watching videos. I think it's the RAM. You're learning computer repair from YouTube. Is that okay? I can call someone if..." "Anthony." She cut him off gently. "It's fine. It's good." They stood in awkward silence, 3 feet and 3 months of devastation between them. "You look different," Monica said finally. "I am different." He met her eyes. "Or I'm trying to be." "Why?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Anthony sat down slowly on one of the desk chairs. "Can I be honest? I'd prefer it. At first, I thought I was doing this to win you back. Working at the coffee shop, volunteering here, living in that studio apartment. I thought if you saw me suffering, saw me changing, you'd forgive me." He looked down at his hands, hands that now had calluses from work, burns from steam wands, evidence of a different life. But then something shifted. "What?" "I started actually seeing people. Rosa told me about leaving her husband with nothing but her kids and a garbage bag of clothes. Jasmine told me she hadn't used a computer in 20 years because her ex controlled everything. Lucia at the coffee shop works 3 jobs to send money to her family in Ecuador." His voice cracked. "These people have real problems, real struggles. And I spent 34 years complaining about which vacation home to use." Monica's throat tightened. "I started volunteering here to impress you," Anthony continued. "But I keep coming back because these women remind me of you. Not because they're struggling, because they're fighting. They're building something from nothing, just like you did. And I never saw it. God, Monica, I was married to you for 5 years and I never asked about your first company. Never asked why the shelter mattered. Never asked who you were before you became my wife." "No," Monica said quietly. "You didn't. I'm so sorry." His eyes were red-rimmed. "Not because I lost everything. Because I lost you. Because I became someone who could hurt you. Who could sit silent while my family tore you apart. Who could..." He stopped, swallowed hard. "Who could betray you with Gabrielle?" The name landed like a punch. "Do you love her?" Monica asked. She'd wondered for 3 months, but never asked. "No, I don't think I ever did. She made me feel important. Admired. She didn't challenge me the way you did. And that felt easier." He laughed bitterly. "Turns out I didn't want a partner. I wanted an audience. And now I want to be someone worthy of a partner. Even if that partner is never you." Monica walked to the window overlooking the Brooklyn street. Outside, the city hummed with life. People going home, starting shifts, living complex, beautiful, difficult lives. "I got the divorce papers," she said. "I know. I got them too. I haven't signed them." She heard Anthony's sharp intake of breath. "Why not?" he asked. Monica turned to face him. "Because I've spent 3 months watching you. Through Keisha. Through my father. Yes, he told me about your coffee meeting. Through my private investigator. You've been watching me. I needed to know if this was real. If you were really changing or just performing." She crossed her arms. "And I still don't know, Anthony. Because 3 months isn't enough time. People can fake anything for 3 months. I know. I don't trust you. You shouldn't. I don't know if I can ever trust you again." "That's fair. But," Monica said, her voice breaking slightly, "I also don't know if I want to walk away without trying. And I hate that I feel this way. I hate that part of me still loves the man you used to be." The man you could be. Anthony stood slowly. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying I'm angry and hurt, and I deserve better than what you gave me. But I'm also saying. She paused, searching for words. My grandmother used to say that forgiveness isn't about the person who hurt you. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of carrying that hurt. And I'm tired, Anthony. I'm tired of being angry. I don't want you to forgive me because you're tired, Anthony said. I want to earn it. Really earn it. That could take years. It could take forever. And it still might not be enough. I know. Monica stepped closer. If we do this, if we even try, it won't be the marriage we had. That marriage is dead. You killed it. We both know that. Yes. It would mean starting over. Completely over. Dating. Therapy. Rebuilding trust brick by brick. No guarantees. No shortcuts. And if you lie to me, if you cheat, if you choose your family over me ever again, I won't. You did before. I did. And I'll regret it every day for the rest of my life. Anthony's voice was steady. But that man doesn't exist anymore, Monica. He died the night you walked out of that dinner. I'm not asking you to trust that. I'm asking you to let me prove it. Monica studied his face, thinner now, older, marked by 3 months of consequences. She saw exhaustion, genuine remorse, something that looked dangerously like hope. One dinner, she said finally. What? One dinner. Just us. Somewhere neutral. We talk. Really talk. And then I'll decide if there's anything left worth saving. Anthony's eyes filled with tears. When? Saturday, 7 p.m. I'll text you the address. She moved toward the door, then paused. And Anthony, don't dress up. Don't try to impress me. Just be whoever you actually are now. Because if I'm going to forgive you, and that's a massive if, I need to know who I'm forgiving. Okay. Monica left before she could second-guess herself. Before she could see Anthony collapse into the chair, shoulders shaking with something between grief and relief. Before she could admit that she'd been carrying the unsigned divorce papers in her bag for 2 weeks, unable to make the final cut. Because some part of her, the part that remembered falling in love with a man who brought her coffee during late-night planning sessions, who'd seemed different from his family, who'd promised to build something meaningful together, wanted to believe people could change. Even people who'd shattered her heart. March 14th Saturday, 7 p.m. The restaurant Monica chose wasn't fancy. It was a small Thai place in Brooklyn, the kind with mismatched chairs and family photos on the walls. The kind of place the old Anthony would have sneered at. The new Anthony arrived 10 minutes early, wearing jeans and the faded sweater from his coffee shop shifts. No cologne. No pretense. Just him. Monica arrived exactly on time, wearing simple black pants and a cream sweater. Her hair was down, loose around her shoulders the way she used to wear it before Constance told her it looked unprofessional. They sat across from each other like strangers on a first date. Thank you for coming, Anthony said. I almost didn't. What changed your mind? Monica stirred her water with the straw. My father said something when he came to visit. He said that holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And I realized I've been poisoning myself for 3 months. I'm sorry. Let me finish. Her voice was gentle but firm. I'm not here because I forgive you. I'm here because I want to understand if forgiveness is even possible. So I need you to answer some questions. Honestly, no matter how much it hurts. Okay. Did you ever love me? Really love me? Anthony didn't hesitate. Yes. But I loved you the way a child loves a toy. I loved having you. Showing you off. But I didn't love you the way a partner should, by protecting you, seeing you, choosing you. I loved the idea of you more than the reality of you. Monica's eyes glistened. That's honest. You asked for honest. When did it start? With Gabrielle? About 18 months ago. Right after your shelter expanded and you started spending more time there. My mother kept making comments about you neglecting family obligations. And instead of defending you, I started believing her. Started resenting you for having something that mattered more than me. He looked ashamed. Gabrielle made me feel important. But it was hollow. Everything with her was hollow. Do you still talk to her? No. I blocked her number the day you filed for divorce. She tried to reach out through work email. I reported her to HR. She was transferred to the Chicago office. Monica absorbed this. Why didn't you defend me? At the dinner? At any of the dinners? This was the question that had haunted her most. Anthony's hands trembled. Because I'm weak. Because I spent my whole life seeking my mother's approval, and I didn't know how to choose you over that. I told myself it was easier to let the comments slide, that you were strong enough to handle it. But the truth is I was a coward. I sacrificed your dignity for my comfort. Yes, Monica said quietly. You did. I can't undo it. But I need you to know, watching you walk out that night, I finally understood what I'd been doing. I'd been slowly killing the best thing in my life because I was too weak to water it. The waitress came. They ordered without looking at menus. Pad Thai for her, drunken noodles for him. The same things they used to order on their early dates. Tell me about the coffee shop, Monica said when they were alone again. So he did. Told her about Lucia and the morning regulars. About burning his hands learning to steam milk. About elderly Mrs. Chun who came in every day at 6 a.m. and left him $5 tips, even though her coffee was only $2. She said I remind her of her grandson, Anthony said. That he was lost too, until he found work that mattered. She said purposeful work saves people. Does it? Save you? It's starting to. Not because it's noble. Because it's real. Every dollar I make, I earn. Every customer I serve, I have to show up for. There's no family name protecting me. No inheritance cushioning my mistakes. Just me and my choices. Monica smiled slightly. Lucia told me you gave your paycheck to the shelter. You talked to Lucia? I talk to everyone in your life now. I needed to know who you're becoming when I'm not watching. And they all say the same thing. That you're different. Humble. Present. One of the women at the shelter, Jasmine, she said you stayed 2 hours after your shift to help her practice for a job interview. That you treated her like she mattered. She does matter. The old you wouldn't have seen that. The old me didn't see a lot of things. Their food arrived. They ate in comfortable silence for a while. I met with my therapist yesterday, Monica said finally. Asked her what forgiveness looks like. She said it's not about forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about choosing not to let that hurt define your future. Anthony set down his fork. What does your future look like? I don't know yet. But I know what it doesn't look like. It doesn't look like being married to someone who doesn't see me. Someone who lets his family abuse me. Someone who betrays me. I understand. I'm not finished. It also doesn't look like spending the rest of my life bitter and alone just to prove a point. My grandmother built a fortune from nothing. My mother became a surgeon when people said women couldn't. I built 3 companies before I was 30. And you know what all of them taught me? What? That the strongest people aren't the ones who never break. They're the ones who break and choose to rebuild anyway. Anthony's breath caught. Monica reached across the table. Didn't take his hand, but placed hers near it. An offering, not a promise. I'm not signing the divorce papers, she said. Not yet. But I'm also not pretending the last 3 months didn't happen. So here's what I'm proposing. We start over. Completely. You keep your apartment. I keep mine. We date. We go to couples therapy. We rebuild trust one honest conversation at a time. And if at any point you revert, if you lie, if you choose your family's approval over my dignity, I won't. If you do, Monica continued, I walk away and we never speak again. Are those terms acceptable? Yes. Then we try. Anthony's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve you. No, Monica agreed. You don't. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is becoming someone who does deserve it. And letting me decide if you get there. She stood, left money for her half of the meal. They were starting equal, starting fresh, and picked up her coat. Next Saturday. Same time. You pick the place. Somewhere that matters to you now, not the old you. Okay. At the door, Monica paused. Looked back at her husband, who wasn't quite her husband anymore, but might be again someday. Anthony, don't make me regret this. I won't, he promised. I swear on everything I'm becoming, I won't. 6 months later, the Brooklyn Women's Restoration Center held its annual fundraising gala in a repurposed warehouse decorated with string lights and hope. Monica stood at the podium in a simple blue dress, looking out at donors, volunteers, and the women whose lives had been changed by this work. 5 years ago, I started this shelter because I believed everyone deserves someone in their corner, she said. I believe that worth isn't determined by your bank account or your last name or whether people see you. It's built through the choices you make every single day. In the back row, Anthony sat between Lucia from the coffee shop and Jasmine from the computer classes. He'd helped set up the chairs, had donated his coffee shop earnings, had spent the afternoon helping women prepare their speeches. He caught Monica's eye and smiled. She smiled back. Small, careful, real. They weren't fixed. weren't back to what they were. They'd never be back to that. But they were building something new, something stronger, something built on truth instead of convenience, on daily choices instead of empty promises. After the gala, they walked along the Brooklyn waterfront. 6 months of Saturday dinners. 6 months of therapy. 6 months of Anthony proving with actions, not words, that people could change. My father called, Monica said. He wants us to visit for Thanksgiving. Both of us. Both of us. He said you passed his test. What test? Becoming someone worthy of a second chance. Anthony stopped walking. And you? Do you think I'm worthy? Monica considered this. I think you're becoming worthy. I think you're doing the work. I think. She took his hand. She'd started doing that a month ago. Small touches that felt like enormous trust. I think I'm starting to trust you again. Just starting. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. Monica said. You lost buckets. It's going to take time to earn them back. I have time. Good. She leaned her head on his shoulder. Because I'm not going anywhere. Not anymore. They stood there as the city lights reflected on the water. Two broken people choosing to heal together instead of apart. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. It was something better. It was real. 1 year later, Anthony and Monica renewed their vows in the same Brooklyn warehouse where the shelter held its galas. Not because the old vows didn't count, but because they needed new ones. Honest ones. I promise to see you, Anthony said. Really see you. Every day. And to choose you over comfort, over approval, over everything. I promise to trust the man you're becoming, Monica said. And to keep building a life where we both can grow. Constance and Vincent weren't invited. But Rosa was there. And Jasmine. And Lucia. And Dr. Chun, who walked his daughter down the aisle a second time with tears in his eyes. Redemption, he whispered to Anthony before the ceremony, is a gift. Don't waste it. I won't, sir. And he didn't. Because some stories don't end with perfect forgiveness. They end with imperfect people choosing to be better. Every single day. Together. Have you ever given someone a second chance? Or been given one yourself? The comments section is open. Share your redemption story. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Thank you so much for watching my story all the way to the end. Your support means everything. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.